Well, should you fake it till you make it? I'm going to share a story about somebody who tried that and it put him in jail. Hey, it's Gary Coxe, business and life strategist, and I've got a little tequila here with me today. But here's the thing. Is there a point where you need to fake it till you make it? And if there is, where's the balance? See, ultimately, where you want to go and what you want to get to in your goals and in your life, many times you're not the person right now that you're going to need to become to make that happen. So that causes an internal conflict. Some people call it imposter syndrome. Some people call it not being authentic. I'm going to show you how to walk yourself mentally through that and how to balance what it means to really fake it till you make it. Some people say absolutely don't do it. Some people say do it. I'm going to share with you when you shouldn't do it and when you should do it. All right, so let's go to the whiteboard here and let's discuss this fake it till you make it a little bit more. All right, here we are. So let me tell you about this one story about this guy. This guy he was on an infomercial. He put together an infomercial. This was years ago when infomercials were really big. And I noticed something very unusual about it. And then I noticed shortly after that, the guy was put in jail. And I'm going to give you the clues as to why he was put in jail, because he was faking it and he hadn't made it. So I believe he was showing people how to buy property or flip it or whatever it was. So in his infomercial, the first thing that he had was he showed a picture of him going into a jet. All right, so first clue. Here's clue number one. It was in a hangar. All right, by the way, we spell hangar with an AR for aviation, not ER. So what do you mean he was in a hangar? Well, he was entering the jet inside of a hangar. Well, most people, as a jet pilot, I'd never have anybody come into the jet from the hangar. What you do is you have to take the jet out of the hangar, you prepare the jet, get it all ready, then you start it up. It would be no reason whatsoever for somebody to walk into the jet in the hangar. So which means he didn't even own the jet, lease the jet, rent the jet, or nothing. And then on top of that, here was another clue. I love this clue. It was his name, but his name was a sticker on the jet. Okay, not a problem, but the first clue gave it away to me. This guy is really faking it, because if it was a true, jet that he owned or leased, at least he would be entering it outside on what we call the tarmac. So I noticed the name was a logo on the front of the jet, and it looked just like a sticker. Which you could have a sticker, but the problem with that is if you're not careful with a jet, they go so fast, it could rip off and go into the engine. All right, so let's go from there. The next shot was him on this big yacht. But I noticed something also unusual. The exact same name or sticker, the exact logo, the exact style was placed, it just looked like somebody just placarded and just slapped it onto this yacht or this boat. And I could tell his story did not line up. So this is the faking till you make it that doesn't cut it. That's where you're going to get in trouble. His program was a fraud, and they literally locked the guy up in jail. I should take some time and go look it up to see how long he got. Now, let me share with you when you should fake it till you make it, because people just go over, they have like an umbrella policy on this. You should never fake it till you make it, or you should fake it till you make it, but they don't explain it. Let me explain to you when you should fake it till you make it. And I'm going to share with you a statement that I came up with years ago that I use to this very day that enables me to push through when I don't feel like I'm really comfortable in the skin I'm in and what I'm trying to project and get. So here's what I mean by that. Let's say that you have really amazing, audacious goals, and for you to attain those goals, you are probably not the person right now that you need to be to attain those goals. I mean, let's look at it logically. Where you're at today, the thought processes that you have today to get to where you're at, you're not the same person you were 5 or 10 years ago. You had to develop your thinking. Now, if you could develop your thinking faster, you'd get to that next level quicker. So sometimes to do that, you have to force yourself. So here's what I mean. Let's say that you want to get in sales. Maybe you're not in sales. and you have a problem with maybe you're a little introverted or shy, or you have a hard time asking people for money. Well, if you want to be ultimately successful, you have to learn to get out of that. You have to learn to ask people for money. And every time you ask people for money in the shell that you're in now, you might feel uncomfortable, unauthentic, like you're faking it till you make it. But that's the type of faking it till you make it that you need to. Maybe you want to be a professional speaker and you don't feel comfortable speaking enough. You don't feel confident enough, but you keep on trying to get in front of people and you're pushing yourself to do that even though you feel uncomfortable. That's the right thing to do. Fake it till you make it. Maybe you don't feel confident, so you get in front of a group of people and you act as if you're confident. You stand up straight. You have commanding presence on the stage, and then when you get off the stage you feel uncomfortable. That's okay, because you're learning to develop to become a person that you want to become to attain the goals that you want to. It's no different than when you watch these shows like American Idol, The Voice, America's Got Talent. When people get on stage, when they're not used to being in front of thousands of people, often you'll see them, they're very shy and very timid. And they're having to force themselves because they're scared. I mean, you'll see some of the judges say, "You're pretty nervous, aren't you?" And they'll go, "Yeah, I've never done this before. I'm really nervous." So they're, in a sense, faking it till they make it. Now, what happens is once they do their performance, assuming the performance is good, people will clap and cheer. Sometimes they'll get a standing ovation. And now what it'll do for the person that's on stage, it will validate that, you know what? I really am good at this. I've never had thousands of people at one time clapping or cheering for me or giving me a standing ovation. And now that confidence level, what they thought they were faking it earlier, now it becomes more natural. So let me share with you the statement that I use to help you fake it till you make it, so your emotions will eventually catch up to who you want to be. All right, here it is. If you're familiar with any of my work, you know this statement often because I use it a lot. When my feelings, you might want to jot this down if you have the opportunity to do that. When my feelings are not in harmony with my goals, what do you do when they're not in harmony with my goals? Ignore my feelings. Let me go over that with you one more time and then we'll chop it up. When my feelings, what feelings? Your negative feelings, the feelings of inadequacy, the feelings of lack of confidence, the feelings of doubt, when they're not in harmony with your goals, know where you want to go. Be intentional. Ignore my feelings. Now, I have done over 3,000 speaking engagements, and I remember, I'll never forget it. It was in Orlando, Florida, years and years ago. I did a presentation, and man, I felt so uncomfortable. I literally would get so much stress. I'd get a pain in my chest. I mean, the stress was intense. And here's one thing I learned that day, that the people in that audience, one person, and I thought they were like really, really successful, and I had a program that wasn't very, very expensive, and hardly anybody in the program in that program that I did, hardly anybody could even afford it. And I'm thinking, here I am thinking I have a lack of confidence, and these people are, dressing up all fancy, and they can't even afford a $100 or $200 program or whatever it is. So what I did, I forced myself. I ignored the feelings of stress. I ignored the feelings of not feeling confident because I had a goal to get good at this. So what did I do? I ignored my feelings when they weren't in harmony with your goals. Now, if you don't ignore your feelings, what's the opposite of ignoring your feelings? You're going to do one of two things when you get these feelings. You're going to ignore them, or you're going to reward them. You have a choice. Which one do you want to do? Now, if you reward the negative feelings, what do? You shrink back. You will not become that person that you need to become to attain those major goals that you want to attain. So you can either ignore them or reward them. So throughout your day-to-day, as you work toward your goals, and you get perhaps, somebody saying no to you, or you feel rejection, or you feel doubtful, or you feel unworthy, you have to learn to ignore those feelings and fake it, if you will, to get the results. Now, one quick thing before we wrap up. Why is it so hard to ignore those feelings? Because you have been programmed to be a slave to them. See, when we're born, what's the first thing that we're told we do when we're born? We start to what? We start to cry. When we're hungry, we cry. And we do this for years and years and months and months and months. We are programmed not to ignore our feelings, but to be a slave to them. So when you learn to ignore them, you're forcing yourself to get yourself to another level mentally and emotionally faster than just ignoring them, rewarding them, ignoring them, rewarding them. Be consistent. One more time before we wrap up. When my feelings are not in harmony with my goals, ignore my feelings. And again, how do you do that? Whatever it is that you do to reward them, figure it out. All the simple, big and little things that you do to reward them, do the opposite, and you'll win the game of success a lot faster. We're out of here. Tequila, can you say bye? Tequila doesn't talk. Poor Tequila. Tequila can you whistle? Tequila can whistle, though, and drink a lot of tequila. No, I'm just kidding. I'm out of here. Love to see your comments below. Subscribe if you haven't. Between now and the next time we get to chat, you know what to do. And if you don't, you do now. Title of one of my books, Don't Let Others Rent Space in Your Head. Go ahead and get it out there. Make things happen. Remember, when your feelings are not in harmony with your goals, do what? Ignore your feelings. Have an awesome day.